Hello and welcome to Qsports. I'm Amudu Gajaga. Thank you for joining us. Coming up tonight, veteran football commentator Tijan Masane Sise would join me in the studio to talk about Gambian football in the past. There are moments where he was in the thick of things, and he will bring us up to speed as to how football used to be like in the past, especially between 1975 and 1985, that 10-year period. We will also be looking at sprinting as well as Gambian athletics in general. How can it progress beyond the stage that it is? Former Gambian sprinter and Norway sprinter Jesuma Sedendur will comment about Gambian athletics. You will also get to hear from him. And let's talk about an end of an era. That's Lionel Messi has finally left his boyhood club Barcelona this weekend, and we will be talking about that as well. This and many more to come on Q Sports. Coming up tonight, veteran football commentator, veteran sports journalist, or if you like, veteran football follower, a big football fan of Gambian football, is my guest in the studio, Tijan Masane Sise. And we're going to talk about Gambian football in the past. How does it used to be like? Watching Gambian players, the likes of the late Biri Biri, the likes of Laos, the likes of Baimale Wada, he can bring us up to speed. He traveled with some of these players in their heydays, watched them play, and even did commentaries, football commentaries about their matches. And he joins me in the studio. Tijan Masane Sise, welcome to Q Sports.
It's my pleasure being at Q Sports.
We talk about Gambian football. There were pioneers, there were people who started the ball rolling. Until today, we are celebrating a historic achievement of qualifying to a maiden Africa Cup of Nations. You were in the thick of things, let's say between 1975 to 1985. You wrote a book about Gambian football, which chronicles the significance of a decade of football within this period. You've talked about the commentaries and things, how they used to happen. Bring us up to speed about how does football used to be, let's say, in 1975 up to 85.
Thank you for having me. It's quite an honor to come here at Q Sports and join you, of course, an anchor of extraordinary talent at what you do. Of course, I covered Gambian football during those 10 years. As you know, I became a part of the team of commentators in 1977, walked next to Sol Njai, who
Another veteran
is my most like
his
a
voice
figure.
is something else.
Borambuj, Malik Oliver Jones, Peter Gomez, Remy Joyner, Silas Macklin Jones, Pap Sen, Data Haidara, Nana Gray Johnson. Had a huge commentary team there. The baton, of course, was passed on to Saul by the legendary Sidi Jame, who's just retired now in Washington, worked with the World Bank for a long, long time. Those 10 years in my book, like you said, I chronicled it, I really think were the period of redefinition of Gambian football. Gambian football was struggling for a minute. You know, they've been through various leaderships and management, from Bio Semegajane back in 1951 to Bio Fofana. There was a period of time that the game really dropped, and they had to bring in Dr. Ibrahim Malik Samba, the UK-trained surgeon of blessed memory, together with Anthony L.R. Blaine, also of blessed memory, who was the director of education, and he was Secretary General of the Gambia Football Association. And they came in to put the house together, and they did it in 1 year. And elections were held. Bio Fofana was appointed as the president of the Gambia Football Association at the time, and Mo Dibba, Dibba, Cooperative Union General Manager, who, in my book, is the best Secretary General in Gambian football and will always be. just because of what he did with the game, the evolution, the organization, right? And the first division, prior to that, we've had teams that did not show up even for games. We had teams that came in with 7 players, you know.
Oh, really? We've been through all that?
Yes. So they
There you go.
restructured the FA with 6, 8 teams and then reintroduced the second and third division. You know, that's how Hawks came to the first division. So what they did right away was to put in place mechanisms that would develop the game. Now, when they curtailed the number of teams in the first division to 6, it became a very competitive league, right? Real de Banjul, Walidan, Starlight, Port Authority, Kwame, and Hawks. So these 6 teams were competitive. And these 6
Obviously, no
teams,
doubt, it's a smaller number. You
yes,
have a lot of
they all
competition.
hated each other.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
like Kwame would come and just beat everybody in the first round and then collapse in the second round. So prior to that, we had went to Ghana in 1977, and they were preparing for the Nations Cup. So they invited the Gambia to go to Accra. We flew into Accra, and they beat us by 6-1. And the next day,
What was the team called then? Is it the Gambia
the Gambia 11?
Okay.
And
All
then
right.
the Daily...
That was the first name before the Scorpions?
Yes.
Yes.
The
Let's
Daily
do that.
Graphic ran a headline story, a bag full of goals. And that really just like pushed the needle. And they're like, that's not going to happen again. So in 1978, M.I. Kabajalo, blessed memory, and Mas Aksigaye were brought in and handed over the national team. That's the year Lamin Owens came in from Kwame. He would later be the best sweeper in Gambian football for a long, long time. So went to Cape Verde, went to Bissau, and when we went to Bissau, we put everybody on notice that Gambian football has changed and it's going up. Lamin Owens was actually recruited by a scout to fly to New York, Cosmos, on trials. From there, we went to Monrovia, Liberia, and we made it to the finals in 1979.
Is it the Talbot Cup?
William J.R. Talbot Fraternity Tournament. We lost by a lone goal. But it climaxed Gambian football because that night when that team arrived at Banjul International Airport, to see the number of people that came out to welcome the boys, you know, and these were boys that were only given $50 for their pocket money at the time.
So there you go.
So, but...
And that was the time when you are told, well played, thank you.
Yes.
And then they just applaud you.
They were determined. They loved what they were doing. When they put on that stripe there, they feared nothing. They were Gambian. They, you know, if you know what these players at the time, the difficulties they faced.
In fact, I want to come in there. Let me jump in here. In terms of traveling, you've talked about going to Liberia, Mauritania. Well, some of the travels, obviously, it's only through an aircraft. But some of them, I understand, people have to put in Land Rovers and, you know, even trucks.
I have traveled to Mauritania by car to cover a zone too. We've driven to Bissau. You know, they've driven to Conakry. They've put teams
with all the bad roads and everything,
yes.
And you get there
and
perform.
And still, when they got there, they played their hearts off for this country. So that's, you know, that's the difference and how the game has evolved today. It's more of a money thing, right? These boys were on a European tour. They were given $100 pocket money on a European tour. That took them also to Asia. So it was more than love of country and wanting to put that red jersey on to represent your country. You know, I've spent a lot of time with these players in the camp. You know, the national team camp. If you read my book, I almost got shot at close range at the depot here by a Senegalese soldier. running an errand at night for the national team. So they loved what they were doing. They cherished it. They wanted to play for their country. And they didn't ask for anything. I have never once, in my association with the national team, and I've camped with them as far back as 1977 in Brikama until I left this country. I have never had anyone complain about money, or, what they're eating. And the diet was good, but it wasn't like it is today, In the mornings we had the mburo batagnan, So, but they were committed, and that's why I always salute these guys, because I've seen them, I've traveled with them. And Papsen would tell you this. These boys, nobody has sacrificed like they've done for this country. And this is why I continue to call for football authorities and the government in particular to honor these guys, Laos, Bilbaji, Esa Faye, Lainur, Ayo Job, Star Jallo, they all here pump. And I just think it is ideal that they are given the honor they do now. We can't wait until they're long gone before we start celebrating them. They may have never won any trophy, but they put Gambia on the map in the sense that our football was respected. In the continent. We played the big teams. When Hearts of Oaks was Hearts of Oaks, Walidan beat them. Kanoni Yaoundé.
The Accra Hearts of Oaks of Ghana.
Walidan beat them by a Malamin Baji goal. We see Thomas Kono here, SFI blazing his net, with Tatao and Iboko and Mangashan and all those guys. Kanoni Yaoundé came here. And had it been before like a torrential rain in Yaoundé, they'd have been beaten in Yaoundé. We played teams like Libya then. They were powerhouses. We beat them. We took teams on like Morocco, and they didn't beat us. Of course, our neighbors, they know how to beat us.
Yeah, Senegal.
They all have psychological warfare.
Especially the iconic one is the February 18th, 1985.
I really.
Were you there?
I don't like talking about that.
Yes. I could remember my father told me.
I was sitting right there.
Then Jai Swing might be. Wow.
Morgado.
Referee,
The
Morgado. Roman Morgado.
the Cavalian referee. Then, you'll call it Jai match. But, Biri was playing in Europe. And the flop, Biri was the master of the flop. Biri knew how to get penalties with the flop. He actually did it in the semi-final against Mauritania to get to the final. So Morgado did not call those. Of course, he had other bad calls. But the penalties were flops. And Jai knew how to do the flop very well. Like Faragov said, if Biri was born, say, in Brazil or Europe, he could have easily been the Pele of the wall. The other day when we were watching that game, I saw the goalie play something back, and I'm telling the guy sitting next to me, I've seen Biri throw a foot there many times and score. The way he... And
we're going to bring you a little bit taste of that match between Senegal and Gambia, and Sol Njai was the commentator.
A left footer now in the center circle. Tony Joyner converts to Biri. Biri controls, change direction of the ball.
We're going to pause here for now. We will have a short break, and when we come back, Tijan Masani Sise is somebody who is working on a project and basically is trying to develop Gambian football, giving youngsters the opportunity to showcase their talent. And on Saturday, there was a football final. We'll give you a taste of that after the break.
The best product in town is back. Qcel's MiFi router. Get the best MiFi in the country for just $2,800 and connect up to 15 users with 4G internet speeds and a long-lasting battery life. So rush now to any of our customer care locations and get the best for less while stocks last. For more info, call our customer care on 111. Qcell, Senior Boss, the Gambia's quality network. We innovate, others follow.
Welcome back, and thank you if you're just joining us. This is Qsports, and I'm Mamutu Kajaga. I'm joined in the studio by Tijan Masani Sise, veteran football commentator, veteran sports journalist. Tijan, let's talk about Medina United Football Academy. Recently, on Saturday, we were at the sports complex where we've watched these brilliant kids play football. First, they started with the third place, and then the final itself, we watched some beautiful football.
Well, Medina United really, my younger brother, Mike Nicol, is really the custodian, but he's put me to be the CEO, given my little knowledge of administrating football and helping. But he's the brain behind this. It was just a Nawetan team. And, we'll fund it from Miami, jerseys and equipment. So he sat down one time and called me up and said, listen, I'm going to do an academy. And we took it on. And then the project came up. I guess you've seen the project. It's not even halfway done yet. Now it's going to have a hotel. It's going to have a little mall, shopping center. And it's going to have a conference center. The conference center is being built now, and 2 natural fields. Brought in some Bermuda grass from Miami. That's going to be used for the natural fields.
And the whole purpose is giving these kids the opportunity to play football.
Exactly, but
showcase their talent.
With a premium on academics, though.
Yes. Sports and education.
Yes.
Never to be forgotten.
Because you got to also understand, all our coaches are teachers. They teach in the schools in the area, so they're also able to monitor the progress of these kids, and we stay in touch. The administration of the academy, they do stay in touch with the parents and the teachers, and the parents are constantly visiting, and we are engaging the kids. Some of the kids, they don't live in Lamin, but they come. Like right now, our house is full to capacity. The kids are here. They're not going home. So they start summer school the 16th. So we place a very high premium on academics, and it goes together with sports. We're giving them the foundation to be great soccer players in the future, but at the same time encouraging them to prepare themselves from an academic standpoint so that you'll have both. So
literally to say life after football, which is hugely important.
Exactly.
Well, Tijan, it's a pleasure talking about all of these things. We first started off talking about Gambian football in the past. And just to remind you, if you're watching Qsports, this is going to be a regular segment, at least for the next few months, talking about veterans, talking about Gambian sports stars of the past, doing a contrasting comparison with the present, what is happening. And Tijan is going to be the brain behind that. He's going to help me do that. But for now, we are going to stop here. And, we give you a teaser. Next time, we're going to bring somebody here who've also lived in the past and also witnessed the present to talk about Gambian sports and Gambian football in particular in the next time. In our next edition, stay tuned. We will bring you more details. Thank you. First, let's talk about a Gambian who has represented the country in the international stage at the Olympic Games, as well as another country that is Norway, Jesuma Sedindur. This week has been talking about what is really wrong with Gambian athletics and what can we work on to make it progressive, to get Gina Bass to the next level, to get Ibrahim Kamara and all those athletes to the next level to compete with the world best and even win medals for Gambia. Let's hear from Jesuma Sedindur, who is now an athletics coach in Saudi Arabia. The sprint coach of the Saudi Arabia Athletics Association has over 20 years' experience as an athlete, coach and trainer. Jesuma Sedindur says a lack of structure in administration of sports, poor infrastructure, and little or a lack of financial reward for athletes hampers their development.
So every Gambian, every sportsman in Gambia or sportswoman are talents. The thing that we lack over there is just the knowledge, like how to teach them, how to become better, you understand? And that has to do with like leadership. So everything has a structure. So you have to treat it as a business, you see. So running is a business.
Jesuma Sedindur is a 4-time Olympian who ran for Gambia in the Athens Olympic Games in 2004 before switching allegiance to Norway, representing them in the Beijing, London and Rio Games. He says the main reasons he switched nationality to run for Norway instead of Gambia are some of the challenges faced by today's Gambian athletes.
Athletes in Gambia, so if you understand, have the resources that most athletes, even in Africa, the Ghanaian athletes, they're even having better resources and better. They were well more organized than we were. So I used to see some of them coming to practice with no money to go back home. Some of them used to walk from Bakau, the stadium, also all the way to Serekunda or wherever it is that they were living. This was this was their lives. So and knowing that they're coming from not the best homes and stuff, and then not knowing if they're gonna be eating dinners even after these practices and stuff. So but when it comes to representing the country, so you need a backing from your country. But with that federation that we had over there, I used to be asking them just to bring my coach in Olympic Games. They wouldn't bring my coach.
Despite the shortage of resources like infrastructure, Jesuma acknowledged that there are many raw talents in the country, not only in athletics, like track and field, but other sports. He added that he will offer his expertise to support the development of young athletes, citing Guinea-Bissau as an example.
We have the best talented athletes in the world. Just Gina today was showing me that we can be out there competing with the best of the best. You need help. You need help as an athlete. So when it comes to Africa, so we have coaches that can bring you to certain levels, and then you'll need someone else with better experience to bring you to that next level. So when I see these athletes that we have, so already in my head, so I know what they need.
Now let's talk about football. End of an era for Lionel Messi after spending some 21 years at his boyhood club, that is Barcelona. Finally, Lionel Messi is saying goodbye, but it was an emotional night. And let's get you the details, the reason why, in fact, Messi left Barcelona.
An emotional Lionel Messi said joining Paris Saint-Germain was a possibility, but nothing is agreed as he confirmed his exit from Barcelona. Messi is ending his 21-year association with Barca, who cannot afford to honor the new agreement they agreed with him because of La Liga's salary limit. The record 6-time Ballon d'Or winner, 34, is now a free agent. My family and I were convinced we were going to stay here at home, he said during a news conference on Sunday. This is the end with this club, and now a new story will begin, added the Argentina forward. Yes, it's one of the most difficult moments for me. I don't want to leave this club. It's a club I love, and this is a moment I didn't expect. Last year, I wanted to leave. This year, I wanted to stay. That's why I am so sad. It was like my blood ran cold. I was really sad. It was really difficult right up to now. I am still trying to process it all. When I get home, I will still feel bad. It will be even worse. I am not ready for this. Messi left Argentina for Spain when he was 13 and made his first team debut for Barcelona aged 17 in October 2004. He went on to score 672 goals in 778 games and helped the Spanish Giants win 34 trophies, replicas of which were displayed at his news conference at the Nou Camp. Messi looks set to extend his stay at the Nou Camp, having agreed to a new 5-year contract in July, halving the £123 million a season he reportedly received in his previous contract. The agreement was dependent on player departures to get Barca's wage bill under La Liga's limit, however, and the club were unable to do so. I offered to reduce my salary by 50% and they didn't ask me for anything else, Messi said. It is not true that they asked me for anything more. I only know that it was not possible because of La Liga, because the club did not want to go into more debt.
With that, we say thank you very much for watching this broadcast. Until we come your way next time, keep on sporting and have a pleasant night. Bye.